The sun beat down on blue horizon. The ranch shimmered in the heat. Dust devils danced across the parched land. Jett wiped sweat from his brow. His calloused hands gripped the reins. He looked out at his spread. His heart ached. Jennifer stood beside him. Her eyes, blue as the sky, held worry. They had poured their lives into this land. Now it was under threat. Virelli, the name hung in the air like a curse. Jett Johnson, we won't let him take it, Jen. Jett's voice was rough but firm. Jennifer nodded, her chin held high. They had faced hardship before. They wouldn't back down now. Not from Virelli. Not from anyone. Sheriff Carter rode into town. Dust billowed behind him. He was a man of few words, but his presence brought comfort. He had a weathered face and eyes that missed nothing. He tied his horse and strode towards the saloon. Inside, Jett and Jennifer waited. The air was thick with anticipation. Sheriff Carter placed a document on the table. The land grant. Their claim to Blue Horizon, it was their only hope. Sheriff Carter, Virelli's got no claim. Sheriff Carter's voice was gruff but reassuring. Jett nodded. His grip tightened on Jennifer's hand. They had the law on their side. But Virelli was a dangerous man. This was far from over. News traveled fast. Virelli's men rode into town. They were a rough bunch. Hard eyes and mean smiles. They swaggered into the saloon. A hush fell over the room. Virelli's right-hand man, Jake, slammed his fist on the bar. He sneered at Jett. Jake Harrison. Virelli wants your land. He aims to take it. Jett met his gaze. Fear gnawed at him, but he wouldn't show it. Not here. Not now. Jett Johnson, Blue Horizon is ours. We have the grant. A tense silence filled the air. The fight was on. Word spread like wildfire. Virelli's threat to Blue Horizon was a threat to them all. The townsfolk gathered. Farmers, shopkeepers, families. They stood with Jett and Jennifer. The saloon buzzed with activity. Men cleaned their rifles. Women prepared food. Children played, oblivious to the tension. They were a community, united against a common enemy. Sheriff Carter, we stand with Blue Horizon. A cheer erupted. They were ready to fight, ready to defend their own. The days that followed were tense. Jett and Jennifer worked tirelessly, reinforcing the ranch, gathering supplies, and preparing for the inevitable. One evening, a stranger rode into town. He was just passing through, he said, but he had information. Virelli was planning a surprise attack.
He aims to strike at dawn.
The stranger's voice was low. He whispered, "Be ready." Then he was gone, vanished into the night. Jett and Jennifer exchanged a look. Time was running out. Jett rallied the townsfolk. They had the element of surprise. Now they needed a plan. They would defend Blue Horizon. They would make their stand. The women and children were sent to safety. The men, armed and ready, took their positions. They were outnumbered but not outmatched. They were fighting for their homes, for their way of life.
We'll protect our home.
Jett looked at Jennifer. Her eyes shone with a fierce determination. He squeezed her hand. She nodded, her gaze unwavering. They had drawn a line in the sand. Virelli would have to cross it to take their land. The night stretched on, each minute an eternity. The air crackled with tension. The only sounds were the chirping of crickets and the distant howl of a coyote. Jett checked his rifle one last time. The townsfolk huddled around makeshift fires, their faces etched with worry and resolve. They were farmers and shopkeepers, not fighters. But they were ready to stand their ground. For Blue Horizon, for each other.
This is it.
The sound of approaching hoofbeats shattered the stillness. The men grabbed their weapons, their eyes scanning the darkness. A chill ran down Jett's spine. This was it, the moment of truth. Jennifer moved among the defenders, offering words of encouragement and sharing what little food they had managed to gather. Her spirit, unbroken and resolute, seemed to bolster the men's flagging courage. Jett found her near the corral, gazing up at the star-studded sky. He wrapped his arms around her, seeking comfort in her presence. He felt her tremble, but her voice was strong when she spoke.
It's going to be all right, Jett. We have each other and we have the town. We'll get through this.
Her words were a beacon of hope in the looming darkness. The first rays of dawn painted the sky with hues of pink and orange. A hush fell over the ranch as the sound of approaching riders grew louder. Dust billowed in the distance, heralding the arrival of Virelli and his men. Jett drew a deep breath and raised his hand, signaling the defenders to hold their positions. They were outnumbered, but not outmatched. They were fighting for their homes, their land, their very way of life, and they would not yield. The sound of pounding hooves echoed across the plains as Virelli's men rode closer, their faces grim and determined. At their head rode Virelli himself, a cruel smile playing on his lips. The air crackled with tension, the silence broken only by the snorting of horses and the creak of leather.
Jett, hand over the land and I'll let you walk away. Resist and face the consequences.
Jett stepped forward, his jaw set, his eyes blazing with defiance.
Blue Horizon is ours, and we will not surrender it to the likes of you.
A tense silence descended upon the ranch, broken only by the chirping of birds and the rustling of the wind. The air was thick with anticipation, the scent of gunpowder mingling with the smell of sagebrush and dust. The showdown had begun. The battle for Blue Horizon raged through the morning. Gunfire erupted, shattering the stillness, the air filled with the acrid smell of gunpowder. Jett and Jennifer fought side by side with the townsfolk, their courage unwavering. Sheriff Carter, a formidable presence, rallied the defenders, his voice booming across the battlefield. Against all odds, they held their ground. Virelli's men, demoralized by the fierce resistance, began to falter. Finally, as the sun began to set, casting long shadows across the blood-soaked ground, Virelli and his remaining men retreated. Blue Horizon had withstood the assault. The land was theirs, a testament to their courage, their determination, and the unbreakable bonds of community. The legend of their victory would be passed down through generations, a tale of bravery and resilience forever etched in the heart of the West.